It's time for the Onyx News. Extraterrestrials, time anomalies, dimensions, remote viewing, UFOs, UAPs, and USOs, ghostly encounters, abductions, Bigfoot, and more. Your end of the week news source for everything unexplained. Here is your host for the Onyx News Podcast, Margie Kay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Onyx News. I'm your host, Margie Kay, and this evening we have an important show for you. We're doing an update on the drones and UAP sightings across the United States. Of course, these sightings they started in mid-November, and they are continuing, and not only that, increasing in number and location. So we're going to be discussing that this evening. I'm going to just play a short update that I did earlier today. Drones and UAP sightings increased over the past couple of nights across the United States. People are posting videos on social media that include multiple balls of light, single flashing orbs, drone-like objects, and even jets chasing UAPs. Additionally, pilots reported seeing large red balls of light in the skies at high altitude, then moving away at extremely high speeds. Last night, multiple people reported drones near LaGuardia Airport in New York. The sightings began to occur in mid-November in Connecticut and New Jersey, then spread across the United States. In Missouri, as many as 30 drones were spotted near Lake City Army ammo plant just 5 days ago. Speculations about these objects are varied and include spy drones from adversaries, hobbyist pranks, a government false flag event, and a true alien invasion that was supposed to start on December 6th as predicted by the Webbot. The Onyx Network is continuing to follow these stories and will bring more information as it becomes available. I'm Margie Kay. Okay, so that just kind of gives you an overview of what is happening. Oh, let me fix this real quick. It's there we go. Okay. Yeah, mass craziness. But there is one thing also that is not hitting the mainstream news, and that is the fact that many states right now have an increase in UAP sightings in general. UFOs, UAPs, and in Missouri MUFON, for instance, which is the state that I'm involved with, our sightings have more than doubled, and our reports. And some of these are actually drone sightings. And I have a sighting that occurred 2 nights ago. This was a video taken by Debbie Ziegelmeyer. She's the state director for Missouri MUFON. She heard a loud noise outside. She went out with her cell phone, and this is what she captured. You might not be able to hear it, but it was making a loud noise. So this is a short video. The first half is the regular phone camera, and then I zoomed in on it for the second half. So it was clearly a drone, and she said that it was headed for a facility that is a top secret government facility that does mapping and spy satellite work. So that was headed in that direction. Now in Missouri, in the Kansas City area, which is where I am, in East Independence and Blue Springs area, which have in the past both been UFO hotspots, they have been seen as many as 30 drones at a time in the same location right near Lake City Army ammo plant. So one begins to wonder about these drones that are near these government facilities and airports, especially LaGuardia last night. So my guest this evening is Jason Albertson. He is a MUFON Pennsylvania State Section Director in Area 3. He was featured on Ancient Aliens Season 19, Episode 5, called The MUFON Files. He was featured on WNEP News Nation about the string of UFOs that were seen over northeastern Pennsylvania. He has served as a radiation safety officer. He has a top secret clearance. He was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and served as a non-commissioned officer in charge of all company communications and more, much more, as a long resume. Welcome to the program, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me on short notice. We connected through the MADAR group, and MADAR, of course, is a UFO radar of sorts that picks up anomalous frequencies and lets us know when there might be a UFO in the area. To your knowledge, have there been any MADAR connections yet with any of these weird drones or UAPs?
I know at the current present time, we are tracking a couple hits that we have had on our MADAR units in the past day or two. MADAR is actively investigating along with MUFON with these reports that have been coming in.
Yes, they are, and that's important. What you're in Pennsylvania? What is going on in your state?
Well, what we're having going on in our state is there is drone activity that is going on over sensitive areas. We actually had, now I disagree with what they did say on the national stage, that there is no security threat or threat of any kind that has been perceived,
Right.
because we've gotten information that a helicopter, a life flight helicopter that was coming in to land a patient, had to divert because of these drones in the area, and that would put the patient's life at risk.
Certainly would, and that's very scary. I understand that they finally were able to land, but it took a while.
Yes.
That's not anything that people we know or nice people would do. So this, that's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yes, it's very scary. Just think that was your mother on that flight, or your father, or somebody you knew. You know, it would be the scariest thing in the world for you that they couldn't make it to the hospital because of a drone or of a anomalous object that just appeared.
Yeah. It's my understanding also that some of these drones or UAPs are phasing out as if they're interdimensional.
Yes, we have seen some that have been phasing out. There has actually been some on the New Jersey coastline that appear to be some kind of portal-like activity. It almost looks like a missile plume coming from the bottom up, but you would assume a missile coming up from the bottom would have a line coming up. This plume was coming from down towards the ground. It was a plume that opened up in the sky. So we're wondering whether or not this is portal-like activity as well.
Yeah, that certainly is something to think about, because nothing about this is normal at all. The first drones that were discussed in the news were the size of a Volkswagen. That is extremely unusual, and it's certainly not something that the average person could probably afford. They must be very, very expensive. Our first thoughts, of course, I think with everybody, was that they were our military and they were probably doing some testing. But as time has gone on, people have seen military jets chasing these things, military helicopters chasing these things. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe we really don't know what's going on. They can say they have, an idea that it's not a threat or not this or that, but if it's going over a sensitive area of the military that you can't fly over like a normal airplane, then how are you able to fly a drone over that area?
Exactly. And, if there are flight restrictions, of course, there are near airports and military installations. And for instance, the Army ammo plant here in the eastern Jackson County in Missouri, that is restricted. And yet
Yes.
there were 30 drones right there the other night.
Yes.
And apparently nobody was doing anything about it. And they stayed there for hours on end. And that's another thing that's concerning about this is that the technology that must be there, but also the fueling. What type of fuel are these things using that they could
Yeah.
stay in the air all night long in the same location?
8 hours at a time, staying in the same location, but they're not operating at a normal civilian drone capability. These drones, some of these aircraft have been spotted at 20, 30, 50,000 feet in the air. That's way farther than any commercial drone could ever fly. And also, these military bases and sensitive areas. I am a retired military myself. These military bases have drone defeating technology. If I was to fly a commercial drone right now that I picked up in the store, I could only get 3 feet from that base and it would turn around and come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fly in that area. That's why the FAA now has it that there is rules put into effect with all these new drones that they are able to detect a signal from them and defeat them and send them back to where they came from.
Exactly. Yeah. Have any of the states been able to declare a state of emergency?
Not to my knowledge, no, because of the fact that they're getting a lot of pushback from the government. As far as you had one governor in Arkansas, I believe that, yeah, Arkansas, that said today that, oh, let's just shoot them all down. That's not the best idea if you're talking about an SUV sized drone that could crash through somebody's roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to think about there. And then plus, I was watching a news report the other day, and they said that there are only 5 government agencies who are authorized to shoot anything down in the sky.
Yes, there is a lot of acts that prohibit them as far as like federal government from intercepting communications, and that would be, the jamming of the drone. To jam that, they have to intercept that communication. But it's a federal law that they have to have a warrant to actually jam or intercept that communication. So it would have to be on the fly warrants, minute by minute, being approved for them to get the approval to take these things down appropriately.
And it's also my understanding that some of our military has attempted to take some of these down, and they can't lock on them. So therefore, they cannot take them down.
Yes.
And they also don't show up on radar. Is that correct?
Yes. We've had an instance. There was an F-16 that went up to intercept one of these. As soon as it got within range of the object, within viewing range on its radar, the object sped off at high speeds between 20 to 30,000 miles an hour in one direction. There's nothing on this planet that could go from standing still to that kind of speed. The G forces alone would be enough, to crush a human being into pieces.
Exactly. Exactly. We've got a question from the chat. Why are these drones only showing up at night?
Actually, we don't actually know that they're only showing up at night. We're only being able to see them at night because of the fact that we're showing the lights. We can see these lights on these drones. If they're above 20 to 30,000 feet, aircraft cruising speed, or even above that, it would be very difficult to actually see these things during the daytime.
You're right. Absolutely. It's the same thing with UAP. When a lot of times we have to use night vision in order to see them even at night. So that makes sense that they
Yes.
wouldn't be able to be seen.
Yeah.
And in some cases, though, they're very noisy.
Yes, most of them have been most, if not, I'd say a good 70% of them have been noise, some kind of noise coming off of them. There have been a few that have been silent, but we also think that it might also be that they're at an altitude that we can't actually hear the propellers. It's a stealth-like probing vehicle.
Right. The oh gosh, there's so many theories about this. What are some of the theories that you've heard?
I have heard everything from Iran is off the coast to aliens are now showing themselves to make us more aware of their presence, to we are being surveillanced on the East Coast for a possible incursion.
Yeah, and as this goes on and we don't get any answers from our government, one begins to wonder if we're not under some sort of attack. And I've thought about the behavior of these things, and it just reminds me of a recon event where they're doing reconnaissance first, and then what comes after that.
Well, we have had a lot of videos are showing that these drones are moving back and forth on a grid pattern. Excuse me, which could say to the fact that that might also be the reason that they are unable to lock onto a signal, because if you send up a drone with a pre-programmed flight plan, you don't need to actually have a direct signal with that drone to make it do whatever you want it to do. So they wouldn't be able to intercept the signal to drop it down to the ground, see what it is, anything. It'd just be there in the sky.
I know a lot of people are saying, why don't you just shoot them down? Do you know of any instances where an individual has tried to shoot one down, say with a rifle?
Unsubstantiated reports, but I have heard of someone that said that it was on a video that I've seen that they were taking shots at it with a shotgun. But I mean, a shotgun in the woods versus a drone that's 20,000 feet up, you're not even going to get close to it.
No, it'd have to be fairly close in order to do that. I do
They were
understand that some of them are at treetop.
response.
Yeah, some of them are at treetop level, so perhaps something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have a few videos that you've done some research on this on YouTube and collected a nice collection of videos by individuals. Of course, the news, it's been on every single major and minor news channel out there, and they're doing constant reports on this on a regular basis. And every day we hear something new about them. It's perplexing, it's bizarre, and they're showing up en masse in multiple locations around the U.S. I wonder if you might want to show one or two of those videos real quick before we go to break time.
Yes,
if you'd like to.
Some of them were on actually online on the X platform. Has been very good for the civilian side as far as like showing these drones and what they're doing. Let me share my screen here with you.
Okay.
You can see here, this one right here.
Okay, let me add that to the stage. Here we go.
That's one that was sighted over New Jersey. It looks like a star, but it has actual, like, you can hear it, in the video. It's got some kind of propulsion to it,
Well, yeah, it's kind of strange. There's all kinds of postings and reports, just hundreds of them, if not more.
Oh yeah, everybody has been posting on this website here. Here's another one here. Oh yeah, he is shooting at it.
Yeah,
Yep, that is one that's shooting at it. Okay, so we
he
do have.
missed it.
Yeah, he missed it by a lot, but we do have somebody that's actually shooting at it apparently.
It doesn't seem to even react to that. It's just going at the same pace and not deviating.
Well, you have to understand also that you don't know how far up these drones are. If being military, you have air current, wind current. You'd need to get direct on these things to actually shoot it down.
Boy, that one looked like it went right to it.
It was close. It was close.
Yeah.
But
Goodness.
people are doing this, and they're sitting there. They're trying to shoot him down. We have had one. Here's another one here.
Oh my goodness.
Now that looks like a commercial drone. That doesn't look like it's a spacecraft or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few on here that would be that that are just so mysterious that blink in and out like a star, or you can't hear them at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really strange for us. And as far as MADAR is concerned, MADAR is a system that detects magnetic anomalies in the sky versus background of what we're getting. I have one here at my house, and we have had hits on MADAR as well, meaning drones and other aircraft do not set off the MADAR. So our MADAR system only goes off when there's extreme gravitational fluxes within the airspace.
Yeah, and so that would be something extremely unusual.
Yeah, very anomalous.
Most likely a UAP, something that's not ours. But of course, there's always a possibility that some nation has developed some super high-tech technology that we had no clue about until now. That was one of my first thoughts.
Well, if you look at the Ukraine war, you look at what they're doing with their drone technology. They could arm a ship with explosives on a drone ship, remote control it into a ship that cost the Russian army billions of dollars, and they spent $1,000 on that, and they blew up a $2 billion ship. It doesn't always have to be the biggest, baddest thing in the world to cause damage or harm. There's been videos out there that I've seen that have these things actually spraying something from the bottom of them. That is an aerosol spray.
Oh,
that is chemical. That is my job field in the Army, chemical weapons specialist. I'm retired from the Army as that.
okay.
And there is payloads that can be put on these larger SUV sized drones that are chemical based, spray based, and could be munitions, like a munition. These things have happened. These things, they just caught someone 2 months ago that was planning to use a drone to drop an explosive on a federal building.
Oh boy.
So it is happening. It's not that it's not happening. It's just not being reported.
Right, because I certainly didn't know about that one. Now, the aerosol spray, that's very concerning, especially with the thought of weaponizing viruses, for instance, that they could go anywhere, especially a largely populated area. One of those could spread something in, say, New York City, or a large population, and it would be disaster.
Well, I don't want to cause any harm or any public panic, but if you ever watch the movie The Rock with Nicolas Cage, where there was chemical weapons on Alcatraz and he had to go in and save these people.
Yeah.
That is really, like, they might have acted out, you know, in graphical what it looks like, but that is what I saw between subjects that were in there when we saw them, when we did like chemical experiments on rats. You know, we did that to see what the effect would be with VX gas, and one drop would literally destroy an entire block.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is movie stuff, but it's real. It could
Yes.
happen. And
And
you
it's,
were, yeah,
and by
you
the
were in a,
video, you know, by that video, it really is happening. You know, I'm I'm more concerned that I actually saw the video than I am that, you know, it could be real. I actually saw the video.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Okay, we are up on a short break. 3 minutes, folks. We will be right back after this.
Debbie Ziegelmeyer is an experienced diver, dive trainer, and UFO investigator who has researched sites around the world that have water-related UFO activity. We now know that even the Pentagon admits that there are unknown objects in the skies and underwater around the world. Debbie compiled an amazing book to catalog many of these sightings. The Alien Colonization of Earth's Waterways, a reference guide to UFO, USO, water-related activity, has received rave reviews by UFO researchers and the public. The book is available at Amazon.com.
Race Hobbs here for the Unnext Network as we present a health and wellness, spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. They apply Cathara energy work with all of their plants and products. All of their products are made in small batches and third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farms topical salve. It comes in 1 ounce and half-ounce sizes made with all natural ingredients. And from now until January 2nd, use promo code KUNX Holiday for an additional 15% off all CBD products. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unnext Network website at unnextnetwork.com. That's UNXnetwork.com. Promo code KUNX Holiday.
Well, we just had a little glitch there. That's unusual. It doesn't happen. We are back with NX News. I'm your host, Margie Kay, and this evening we are talking about the drones and UAPs across the United States. Of course, my guest this evening is Jay Albertson from Pennsylvania MUFON. How busy is Pennsylvania MUFON right now, Jay?
We're pretty busy. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York have been swamped.
What percentage increase in UAP sightings do you think you've had?
I'd say about a 50-60% increase.
Yeah, that's what we're having in Missouri as well. And I think that's probably across the board. And these sightings go around the world as well. But what do you know about the Coast Guard that was chased by some drones, that case?
Yeah, there was a Coast Guard. It was 1997 or 1994, I believe. It was a Coast Guard ship. It was actually chased. There was a video of it out online think it was 94. That was on the sea that actually showed them rocking back and forth and seeing the actual objects on the coastline. This isn't new stuff that's happening.
Okay.
This has been
Okay.
happening for years. The Coast Guard also said it was yesterday. Now, there's not a video of this, but yesterday they were trailed by, they said 30 to 37 orb-like objects.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So when you say trailed, are they high up in the sky or are they down low?
They're lower in the sky, trailing the movement of the boat. It's they're going right. Their UAVs are now going right. If they're going left, now their UAVs are going left. They're trailing the boat as far as where they're going, what they're doing. It's military surveillance to a T. That is the first thing that you do before anything. You surveil any area before you go into it.
Do you know of any other Coast Guard ships or military ships that have been tracked by these things?
I know of pilots that have been in the sky over Pennsylvania. I actually have a video of that. It was shown on another show, but I want to show the video. Just the audio itself, is incredible, of this pilot talking to air traffic controller and them back and forth saying, these are up here, we see them. And then FAA said, well, we have nothing on radar, but the pilot is seeing it on their radar.
Yeah.
Like right in front of them.
So, yeah, we know that radar is not catching these. Let's go ahead and show that video right now. Just amazing stuff we're seeing here.
Here is from the pilots. Okay.
Okay.
No, we're not seeing anything. I had another one report at like 30,000 feet in the Eugene area. We're not sure what it is.
Yeah, there's lots moving out there.
1596, yeah, they're looking into it.
We're seeing 3 or 4 targets. Yeah, they're all altitudes up and down. It's pretty crazy. There was some at 30 probably. I mean, they're shooting way up. We say maybe up to the 50s, it looks like.
Is there traffic actually out about our 2 to 3 o'clock, about, I don't know, 20, 30 miles? No, is that the 4 different lights going up and down? I'm getting a few reports, but you're seeing it right in front of you now too as well? It's 2 to 3 o'clock off, about 2 to 3 o'clock from our position. Looks about 20 miles going in circles. Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot. Yeah, we're not seeing anything. Getting lots of different reports out there. Some at 30, some all the way up to 50,000. About 3 or 4 different lights. Does it look like they're around your altitude now? No, there's one way up high and one about my altitude. Moving in like a circle, like a corkscrew pattern. All right, I'm visually have eyes on what looks like an aircraft strobe that's at my 2 o'clock and 22 miles at my altitude. I'm actually showing him on TCAS. Do you see that one? And about 1 Lima Foxtrot, I do not. He looks like he's moving towards, it looks like it's moving towards the north. Like I said, 22 and a half miles off my right wing. Just had another one show up about my 1 o'clock, about 1,000 feet high, zipping towards us and then back out towards the ocean. It's red in color, moving at extreme speeds. I don't even know how to describe how fast he's moving. 661 on the Fox.
Roger. You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left and right, to avoid the UFO out there.
It's weird. It's a red circular shape, and it keeps zipping out towards the ocean and then coming back in about 20 miles or closer to us, and then zips back out of the ocean and we can't see it.
Is there any military activity out straight ahead of us?
No, we're not seeing anything. I had another one report at like 30,000 feet in the Eugene area. We're not sure what it is.
So he literally said there that...
Okay, that was from another broadcast. You know which one that was?
Yes, that is from the let me see here. I got it right here on my it is from Casper site. on YouTube, shocking footage of New Jersey drone shooting human or alien tech.
Okay.
That came straight from his show, but yes, but like it describes, the pilot has eyes on this object on radar zipping in and out, but air traffic control radar, which is stronger than a pilot's, cannot pick it up.
That's just amazing. That is amazing. Now, I know that military planes can turn off their transponders, but everyone else has to have a transponder on, correct?
Yes, and actually, to be clear, the military has to get clearance before they can operate in an area without a transponder. So the FAA would have to clear them before they went into the area. Say they were doing a training mission, or they were doing a training exercise that they didn't want airplanes in the area. The FAA has to clear that area of any civilian aircraft, and then they can proceed as they see fit with their exercise.
Okay. And then as far as hobby drones or commercial drones that the general public might have, do they all have transponders?
Yes. Even the drones can actually be picked up with a signal from an operator on the ground, and we have technology that can send these drones, like I said, back to the operator. If you try to operate a normal civilian drone off the shelf, you can't get close to a military base. It'll send you back because the military employs drone defeating technology. So civilians can't go over a high testing area or ammo testing depot or anything like that and surveil them. You know, they want to be secret on what they're testing.
So when you say, is it probably AI technology that does that automatically?
Now that's what we're thinking. As far as like, there is now some of the drone defeating technology has been used on these objects in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York, and it has not been effective. Meaning, there's no signal for this object or this ground controller to lock onto to actually send it back to the controller. Meaning, it's either a pre-programmed flight of a aerial manned vehicle or an unmanned vehicle being a pre-planned flight. That way you can't intercept any signal. It's already planned. It goes where it needs to, and it comes back. You know, you can't tell it to go back because there's no signal connected to that. Operators telling it it's right here, going out this far. They defeat it, and then the drone goes back to that operator. There's no signal for it to go back to.
What are your thoughts on this? What do you think this phenomena is? Is it UAP, drones, military, all of the above? What do you think?
I think it's all the above. I think we have a mix of different phenomenon that are happening. You have people that are seeing fixed wing. You have people that are seeing helicopters that are way high up. You have people seeing UAV type. You have people seeing circular, orbed. It's not just the fact that, you know, they're in the area themselves, but, you know, they're operating in restricted airspace that's already restricted, like an emergency room or a hospital, military base, like we were talking about. And we have the technology. When I was in Iraq in 2006 and 2007, I won't go into the program, but I was read into a program called Warlock. In 2006 and 2007, it was called Warlock. It was a signal defeating IED vehicle that literally all it did was a signal came in that said, oh, there's a signal coming in, and it sent that same signal back, defeating that signal from doing anything in that bubble.
Okay.
They can employ that same technology around major stadiums, football stadiums, and nationwide to stop drones in restricted airspace. They wouldn't be able to go in because they would literally, you'd have to have some kind of roof on these buildings, but they would literally fall on the top of the roof. They wouldn't be able to do anything.
Well, what is concerning, and this has been brought up, of course, is the fact that they could be, especially the larger drones, could be carrying a payload of some type. What would the worst case scenario be, in your opinion, that could be something that they could be hauling in these drones?
Worst case scenario, well, let's go with the least amount. The least would be they're surveilling for their own purposes to see what we have. The second would be military, foreign government that have technology that are far greater than ours, that are testing our responses to their incursions. Like, what are we doing to actually do anything? And then we do nothing, and then all of a sudden, oh, they did nothing. So today we send out 20 more. It could be that. Or there's also the unknown. Now, the unknown is significantly slighter in my eyes because of the fact that, like I said, we have these MADAR nodes that are prone to detect magnetical anomalies in the atmosphere. Within 200 miles of the node, I'm in central Pennsylvania, so I'm pretty much the whole center of the state in Pennsylvania. We have them everywhere, pretty much in the world is a MADAR node, and they detect all magnetical anomalies. And then when we detect it, go outside, we use night vision goggles because of the fact that they're operating also some of these vehicles on a spectrum that you actually can't see with your naked eye. You can only see them in night vision. You can only see them with a multi-spectral camera, or a millisecond high-speed multi-spectrum camera. Like milliseconds would go by taking camera pictures or a video.
Yeah. From the chat, let's not forget Chinese spy network building in Cuba. Oh, goodness.
All right. Well, we won't get into spy network, but I will say something. Cuba has been the mystery of itself also in the past years with the Havana syndrome.
Yes.
And if you actually take a look at some of the brain scans of these patients that had this Havana syndrome, like I have, they have literally dead white spots in their brain. Like, it's a dead area in their brain. They were targeted in a attack, or maybe even a foreign government tried to put together a new listening device, but it was on a higher frequency and it messed with somebody's brain. That could also happen. Ultra frequencies and higher frequencies can also mess with, a person's perception of time and space and everything.
Yeah, infrasound and ULF.
Yes.
Yeah, they can really affect you. I've had those experiences myself. And a directed energy beam weapon, got hit by one of those, which is probably the Havana syndrome, same thing.
I've had one thing that had happened to me in Ancient Aliens, the episode that I was on, season 19, episode 5. I was actually injured in a UFO landing area that we were investigating with MUFON. We investigated, sent samples to the lab, and we determined that the grass and the area around it, the grass was burned from the inside out, meaning that it was a microwave. It was a microwave transmission burn. So if anybody wants to check out that episode, that we go over lab results with Travis Taylor and Nick Pope.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I had a case here in Missouri where a tree had been burned from the inside out, and the person who took a look and analyzed the tree, was a tree expert, but he didn't know where I got this sample. I didn't tell him anything about it. He said, "You can have this back. I don't ever want to see it again." So he
And
knew instantly
yes,
that it was something
and that
anomalous.
is, but that's the problem also with civilian science education societies is if I had to send that off through our own MUFON lab that's in Missouri. You know, we have a $500,000 lab, as you already know that.
Yeah,
And the lab is awesome. You know, they have so many things there they can do. And when they determined that, it's like it's an aha moment. Like, well, if this really was an engine of any sort, it would be burned from the outside in. It would never be burned from the inside out.
yeah, yeah. It's that sort of thing. Of course, hindsight has made me think about some of my past cases where I wish I had done some collecting of samples. And this is early on in my investigation career where I didn't. I knew something was odd, took pictures, but didn't take samples. And now I just wonder what we would find. So, moving forward, that's just something
Yeah.
to keep in mind for investigators to always take samples, because you never know what you're going to find. Now, has there been any trace evidence from these drones or UAPs around? Has anybody seen any, like burned trees or grass or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of at this time. The ones that have been seen lower to the ground at tree level, I'm not aware of the trees actually being burned in the instance.
Hmm.
It could be that it's not being reported. Could be that it wasn't shown in the videos that I saw, or it wasn't reported to us. There are a lot of other agencies out there: New Fork, MUFON, Madar. There's an agency that we're now working with, Paradigm Labs in California. That's a science agency. Now, the problem you get to is you have the evidence. I could come with a book of evidence right now to Penn State, and they would look at me and tell me, "You're nuts. We don't want nothing to do with that scientific evidence that you collected with equipment and monitoring, and we don't want anything to do with that." Why? Because of the fact that they're already aware that if they try to get involved, another government agency is going to step in and say, "You either can't do this, we're going to shut you down, or you need to stop, or we're going to do something drastic." And then there's also the fact of being followed. There's been instances, even me myself, I've been followed by
Oh yeah,
by an SUV with Paris license plates on both the front and the back.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Once you get deep into UFO investigations, that sort of thing happens.
You're on a list.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And our phones are tapped, and
Not
they
getting
follow you.
conspiracy wise, but just like it really does happen.
Yeah,
Like
it does.
they intercept signals. Like, it's not a crime to do a FISA warrant, which is a FISA warrant. It's not a crime. And that is a spur of the moment warrant, second by second, that they can do based off the evidence they have. Let's say they're doing surveillance of you and you do the same thing for 16 years. But now this day, you're out of state going 80 miles an hour down the freeway. And now they're like, "Oh my God, this person changed their habit." Now they're following you.
Right, right. Uh, Now, as far as the drones go, have you been able to get any footage yourself or anybody in Pennsylvania MUFON?
Pennsylvania MUFON has been, we're actively investigating them. We can't show the videos on here, unfortunately, because they are being actively investigated.
Okay, that's all right.
But as soon as they are solved at the time, then we will show every video we have. We don't
Okay.
hide anything back from anyone. MUFON is a civilian organization. We're all volunteers here. Nobody gets paid. All we want to do is to get the truth out there. Once we have the evidence, once we have it analyzed by photo experts, labs, everything, then the evidence does come out, and we come out with a trove of evidence.
Good, good. Yeah. We're trying to get some of that here as well in Kansas City area and St. Louis. So, and we've got all of our investigators on alert to keep an eye to the sky and always make sure you've got a camera with you, or at least your cell phone. There's one tip for everybody out there: get into your cell phone camera settings and set it to as high as possible settings in the video section, so that we get, normally it's like 24, 30 frames per second. And by setting it to the highest, it'll be 60 frames per second. So when that video is analyzed, it's going to come out much better and be much easier.
And some phones also have the high definition setting as well, that you want to put that on as well. Anything that's the highest extreme setting that you can do for videos and photos.
And then the other tip is turn your phone sideways. Must turn it sideways. Don't do up and down. You get a lot more information by turning it sideways.
A lot more sky view, a lot more location info. I mean, we can, if you show me a video that's up and down, I might not be able to do a proper investigation, but if you show me a video side to side, I can get a better idea of the landscape and the area around it.
With your past history in the Army, if you were in charge of figuring out what these things are or taking some down, what would your approach be?
First of all, I would employ someone to track them. First of all, where they're coming from and where they land. If they are in the sky, they're coming from somewhere, first of all. Second, what I would do is after that, after you track them, now you know their routes. Now you can plan where to take them down in unpopulated areas. You're not going to take it down in national park. You're going to take it down in some kind of restricted airspace that the military or some other can have a net around and have no civilian traffic in there when they take it down. Mm-hmm. They can either take it down over land. If they don't want to take it down over land, there are plenty of videos out there that show that these drones are also coming from the ocean. Okay, fine. You don't want to drop it over land. I understand. It's an SUV size. You don't know what the payload is. Understandable. Fine. Drop it in the ocean. The ocean is a perfect spot. We can sit there. We can collect the debris, and we can find out and analyze exactly what it is. That's exactly what I would do. And you would have these teams that would directly correlate with each other. There's no subsequent area to where one person knows this and another person doesn't. All three groups have to be interconnected with the same network, the same surveillance, the same everything, so that everyone has the same picture on what's going on. Those three entities that I described, the first tracking them, next planning their routes, and then getting them to a place to where they can down them.
Well, I'm sure that our top military minds are working on that right now. At least, hopefully, they are. It's very concerning. It's concerning about what they could possibly be having on their payload, what they could drop. I mean, nobody knows. And
well, that's why my best option would be to drop it over the ocean. We already have the videos saying they're coming from there. If we do think there's a payload and we do have these aerosol like things coming off of them, I would say drop it over the ocean and take it apart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. If anybody sees UFOs or drones in your state, where should they report that?
They can report that to PA MUFON, New Jersey MUFON, New York MUFON. We have our own entities in every state. Myself, I'm a section state director. I have one field investigator under me that works with me, and we go out with equipment and actually investigate all of our sightings that we have here in central PA.
Mm-hmm. And then if from anyone from anywhere sees a UFO, just go to MUFON.com. It's MUFON.com and file a report, and then you will be an investigator will be assigned to your case.
Yes, someone will be in touch with you within 3 days is our time period. It probably won't be 3 days because of the veracity of everything going on. It'll probably be immediate, but we will get back to you.
All right. Well, Jay Albertson, Pennsylvania MUFON, thank you so much for spending some time with us and keeping us updated on these current events. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, ma'am.
All right. Another show. Goodness gracious, we've got so much going on here. We are keeping on this, so stay tuned to UNX News. We are dropping information as we get it, and we will keep you updated as much as possible. This is Margie Kay with UNX News. I'll see you next week.